We're doing a video on the Arcus power drive mortuary lifter trolley, and unfortunately we don't have a mortuary cabinet with us. They're all up in the Northern Territory, so we'll do our best to explain the different features on this trolley and how it is to be used. First of all, uncrating, because it will come to you crated. Uncrating the trolley is pretty straightforward. Any damage needs to be reported to Arcus to see how we will deal with that. After that, there is a manual that will come with every trolley, and that needs to be read, and in particular the safety warnings need to be adhered to. But I would strongly suggest you read the manual, which is pretty much going to tell you everything about what I'm going to tell you about. So, you've uncrated the trolley, you've made sure that there is no damage. Attached to every handle, there will be a 240 volt plug lead. This lead plugs into the side of the handle, as you can see there, and it plugs into 240 volts. The battery, you'll have to assume, comes flat, so the battery should be fully charged before you attempt to do anything. And I'll get down low now and show you down here. You'll see a switch and you'll see a little red light. That red light is showing that the battery is full, and the switch then goes from the off position to the on position so that the trolley can be used. It can also be charged while the switch is in that position. It's also recommended that the trolley is charged on a daily basis, so every time it's not being used, the trolley should be plugged back into a power source somewhere. Okay, we now assume that the trolley is fully charged and ready to be used. The trolley is not motorised, so it needs to be pushed manually, and a suggestion is that you use two people, one to push and one to guide it into position. Before we go much further, the four casters have locking brakes on them, and whenever you're performing a function of removing anything heavy or putting anything heavy back into the mortuary cabinets, at least two of the brakes should be put on so that there can be no accidents. To lift this trolley and drop the trolley, there is a handpiece. There is a button which is now on, showing the power switch being on. You'd be familiar with that symbol. Then we have an up and down arrow, and it is as simple as, if we are raising the trolley, we push the up arrow, and that noise is not abnormal. It is the normal noise. And of course, if you wish to lower the trolley, which you should do whenever the trolley is being moved to various locations, you should never be doing so in any position higher than perhaps hip height. This trolley is a concealment trolley, which means that when the body is on this trolley, on the BIER, and you wish to move it through public areas, you can raise the concealment arms one at a time. That end, and then this end. And this happens on the front side, and it also happens on the back side. And you'll become more familiar with how to do that after you've done it a few times. There is a bag or an envelope that then drops over this whole arrangement back down to the level of the mortuary BIER. Then you can move or do whatever you wish, and when you're finished with it, obviously, it's easier to drop one end at a time, like so. It's a little bit noisy. Okay, so that's the concealment, raising and lowering, blocking off of casters, and moving into location. We'll now move on to the next phase of what's going to happen with this trolley. We're going through the process of removing a body tray from our side entry mortuary cabinet, which in this case is 3 levels high. As pointed out already, the trolley needs to be driven with 2 people assisting. to get it nearly into the right position. But before you get the trolley into the position, particularly in the location that we're talking about, you need to open the door of the compartment you wish to remove the body tray from, and you need to lower what we call the drawbridges. They are pieces of metal about so long, and they hinge out. Both of those should be hinged out before your trolley is taken into position. And also the body tray that's inside the cabinet has a handle on it. That handle should be extended, because when you are removing the body, you'll be around this side and you'll need to reach over the trolley and pull the body tray onto this unit. So you now drive the unit roughly into position and start to raise to whatever level you want. It should be such that this just touches the drawbridge, as we call it, and my suggestion is roughly that the drawbridge lands approximately 70 millimetres onto this channel. The reason for that is that when the body tray comes out, it has to go completely to the other side of the trolley such that the drawbridge can be taken back to where it was. So if you land approximately 70 mil on, all your clearances will be fine, and that's certainly enough to do the job. The body tray is then pulled completely this way as far as it can, because you have a stop here. This stop will hit the wheel on the underside of the body tray, and the body tray will be somewhere out where my hands are. That's when you release the drawbridges, and then you move the body tray back into the centre of this trolley. And to make sure that it doesn't move during transport, this device is tilted up, and these two lugs that you see here fit underneath the mortuary BIER, not on the outside of it. So once this is up, the body tray cannot move left or right, and it can't move front or back. So you then lower the mortuary trolley to a safe mobile position. And once again, if you were to move this through the public, you would raise the concealment arms and put the body cover on. So I think that pretty much covers how to remove a body tray. The most critical part being making sure that your drawbridges do land on here. And I say approximately 70 mil. After you've done what you want to do on site and you've worked out where that position is, would be an idea to put a mark onto this channel so that you know exactly where to lift your mortuary trolley up to. Okay, we're now putting a body tray or a body tray with a body on it back into the mortuary cabinet. The reverse of the process you just heard is probably all that is required to talk about. The thing that you once again need to remember is probably roughly park your trolley into position away from the mortuary cabinet, and then move it forward like this so that both the casters on my side are able to be locked. Very important when you're doing the removal or the putting in of the body that the casters are locked on the side you can access from. Once your casters are in the lock position, once again raise the trolley's channels up to just touch the drawbridges, which have been already extended. And then as long as the trolley is mostly in the correct position, there will be a bump because there'll be a thickness of material as you push the body and the body tray back into the mortuary cabinet. There'll be a little bump, so you will need to use a little bit of force to make it happen. But they are on rollers, so it should be a pretty simple process once that has happened. Once the body has been put back in and the handle pushed back in underneath the mortuary BIER, the drawbridges, if possible, can be raised and the trolley can be lowered. The brakes released. The release of the brakes is very clearly explained in the manual, and then the body tray can be removed. And of course, this lever would have been in the down position before you attempted to push the body tray off, because it wouldn't have moved if it wasn't. Once again, once you've done the operation, there should be a home for this where you can recharge the battery on a daily basis. And the rest, I'm sure, after you've used this for 1 or 2 operations, will be very simple to use. That's about all I can tell you about this trolley.